So good, so good, so good.
Everything you want for summer is at Nordstrom Rack stores now and up to 60% off. Stock up and save on the brands you love like Vince, Sam Edelman, Frame, and Free People. Join the Nordy Club to unlock exclusive discounts, shop new arrivals first, and more. Plus, buy online and pick up at your favorite Rack store for free. Great brands, great prices. That's why you Rack.
Girl, winter is so last season. And now spring's got you looking at pictures of tank tops with hungry eyes. Your algorithm is feeding you cutoffs. You're thirsty for the sun on your shoulders. That perfect hang on the patio sundress. Those sandals you can wear all day and all night. And you've had enough of shopping from your couch. Done hoping it looks anything like the picture when you tear open that envelope? It's time for a little in-person spring treat. It's time for a trip to Ross. Work your magic.
Your idea is solid. Their ego isn't. And right now, their ego is winning. Welcome back to Speaking with Confidence, the podcast that helps you build the soft skills that lead to real results. Communication, storytelling, public speaking, and showing up with confidence in every conversation that counts. I'm Tim Newman, a recovering college professor turned communication coach, and I'm thrilled to guide you on your journey to becoming a powerful communicator. All right, let's talk about a room that we've all been in. You're sitting across from the smartest person in the room, or at least the person who has decided that they're the smartest person in the room. It could be your boss. It could be that one client who treats every casual check-in like a high-stakes courtroom drama. You get about 2 sentences into your pitch before you see the signs. They lean back, they blink slowly, and then comes the inevitable interruption. Actually, or let me stop you right there. And suddenly you realize they're not even listening to your idea anymore. They're grading you. And here's the thing, though. The problem isn't your idea. The problem is your approach. You walked in trying to prove how smart you are. And that's exactly what triggered their defense systems. If you want to win this person over, you have to stop pitching and start practicing what I call stealth collaboration. And that's what we're breaking down today. Let's start by understanding why a standard pitch fails so badly in these situations. John Maxwell talks about this in his law of connection. Real connection only happens on the receiver's terms, not yours. When you walk in with a polished, finished idea, you're forcing everyone to play by your rules. You're handing them a completed product and asking for a signature. And that leaves them with exactly 2 options. They can approve it and admit you're the expert, or they can tear it apart to reclaim their dominance. Their ego is going to choose the second option every single time. I watched this play out with a colleague early in my career. He spent 3 weeks building a flawless presentation for a dean who was known for micromanaging everything from the slide deck to terminology. The dean spent the entire hour complaining about font choices and moving graphics around. The strategy died right there in the room. Not because the logic was flawed, but because the format felt like an insult. A perfect deck from a junior faculty member felt like a direct challenge to the dean's status as a top expert. You don't need to make your idea dumber. You need to restructure the conversation so their ego is on your team. This whole approach starts long before you ever step into a formal pitch meeting. Think of it as psychological reconnaissance. And it begins with a mindset I come back to constantly on the show. Listen like you're wrong. Walk into every interaction with this person, assuming their perspective holds a value you haven't spotted yet. This isn't faking humility. It's a tactical move to lower their guard and to force yourself to actually hear them. John Maxwell always says connection happens on the other person's terms. So before you can link your big idea to their goals, you have to find out what those goals actually are. Not the official quarterly targets, the real ones. The things that keep them up at 2 a.m. Usually it's one of 3 fears: looking incompetent, losing authority, or getting blindsided by a problem they didn't see coming. Your job during this prep phase is to map that emotional landscape. And here's how you do it. I call it the strategic question dump. Before you mention a single detail about your proposal, schedule a low-pressure chat. Frame it as a brainstorm, an input session. Your only goal is to ask 3 or 4 open-ended questions about the specific problem your idea is meant to solve. What's their biggest headache with the current workflow? If they had a magic wand, what's the one outcome they prioritize? Then you shut up and take notes. Pay close attention to their exact phrasing, their favorite buzzwords, the things that clearly annoy them, because you're gathering raw materials for your pitch. Then comes step 2, find the seed. Look back through your notes for one specific opinion or offhand comment you can use as an anchor. Maybe they mentioned that scalability is the only thing that actually matters to them. That one sentence becomes a foundation for everything. The goal of this whole prep phase is to understand their mental model so well that your idea feels like a natural extension of their own thinking. Not something you're focusing on them, something you're building together. Now it's time to execute. And notice I said guide a conversation, not deliver a monologue. You start by planting the seed you found in your prep work. Something like, I've been thinking about your point from last week on scalability. It sparked a new direction I'd love to get your take on. You haven't even presented an idea yet, and you've reflected their own expertise back at them and invited them to weigh in. Next, you present an incomplete prototype. This is where the psychology gets really interesting. There's a concept from Harvard research called the IKEA effect. And basically what it says is people value things they helped build about 63% more than things that arrive pre-assembled. So you avoid the polished slide deck at all costs. A perfect presentation looks like a finished product that doesn't need them. Instead, show them a messy whiteboard drawing, a Google Doc full of holes. When the visual cues scream that the work is still in progress, you're handing them the tools to help you finish the job. Then, step 3, invite the criticism. Don't wait for them to hunt for mistakes. You point them out first. The timeline feels a little shaky to me. Or, I'm still not sure how to roll this out without disrupting the sales team. By surfacing the weaknesses yourself, you're not asking them to judge you. You're asking them to help you solve a puzzle. And that instantly turns a critic into a partner. As the conversation builds, use their exact language in your responses. If they say, the intake process needs to be faster, you say, your point on streamlining the intake actually solves the budget issue I was worried about. You're making a direct verbal link between their suggestions and the success of the project. They're the lead architect. You're the one taking notes. And when you wrap up the meeting, summarize everything using their specific framing and vocabulary. So we landed on a framework for scalable growth that fixes the bottleneck by streamlining the intake, exactly like you suggested. Notice that word, your, not the, not our, but your. That one word shifts the entire dynamic. You've moved your idea into their head and let them believe they discovered it themselves. There's a final filter you absolutely cannot skip, and we've talked about this a lot recently. It's the 8th grade simplicity test. Once you finish building the idea together, hand the narrative back to them and say, just so I'm 100% sure I've got this right, how would you walk the rest of the team through this? If they start to stumble, the idea is still too messy. A high ego person will never champion something that makes them sound confused. Complexity feels like a trap to them. They'll distance themselves from anything that threatens their status as the expert in the room. And this test forces you to keep boiling the idea down during the collaboration phase. You're editing it on the fly, reinforcing the 1 or 2 main pillars that hold everything up. Your goal isn't a technically perfect or exhaustive plan. It's something they can own and defend confidently when you're not in the room. And that's Maxwell's connection principle in its purest form. You've linked the idea to their deepest desire, to be seen as a clear, authoritative expert. And you did it by making your own intelligence invisible. Here's the bigger picture. This isn't just about getting one idea approved. It's about a total shift in your reputation. When you consistently make this person feel brilliant, strategic, and in control, something ironic happens. The person who thinks they're the smartest in the room starts to believe you're the only one who actually gets them. And because of that trust, they start bringing every major problem, every big opportunity to you first. You trade the quick hit of saying, "I told you so," for something far more powerful, long-term influence. So here's your homework for this week. The next time you sit down with a high ego individual, ban yourself from using the word "I" when talking about the project. You have exactly 2 jobs. Ask one specific question on something they said before, and present a first draft that is intentionally missing a few pieces. Then shut up. Guide them toward the finish line, and let them think they built it. That's all for today. Remember, we're looking for progress, not perfection. Be sure to visit speakingwithconfidencepodcast.com to get your free ebook, The Top 21 Challenges for Public Speakers and How to Overcome Them. You can also register for the Formula for Public Speaking group. Always remember, your voice has the power to change the world. We'll talk to you next time. Take care.